My name is Jutta, and I would like to welcome everyone from my heart to the launch of our podcast Experience Consciousness. Yes, it is true that I read this introduction of us from a piece of paper for the simple reason that I hopefully get through without many oohs and repetitions. Elke and I met more than 15 years ago in Canada. Both of us were born in Germany, although Elke has had the Canadian citizenship for many years. From the first moment we met, there was an unspoken understanding on another level. I was able to address topics with Elke that I usually kept to myself, as I was smiled at or seen as a dreamer by others when attempting to share things that were out of the ordinary. After 4 years, I was able to understand myself and my perceptions better with Elke's help. Many things became clearer to me, even though with some of Elke's concepts I said to myself inwardly, well, maybe that's a bit out there. And at that time, I would not or did not want to follow her explanations. My time in Canada abruptly ended after almost 5 years as I received my breast cancer diagnosis in 2014, and I then decided to return back to Germany into my family environment. I still remember Elke's words, which were that I could stay in Canada. It didn't matter where I was, and she would support me in this process. And what I would really need was faith in myself and my own healing powers. Being conscious and personal responsibility, I thought, had been my companions for decades at that time, and yet I decided to leave Canada and have my tumor surgically removed in Germany. Yes, I was able to learn a lot about personal responsibility and my consciousness in the coming time and years. Despite the distance, the contact between Elke and me never really stopped. Sometimes it was more intense, sometimes less. And now some words about Elke. Even as a child, Elke often found herself in a strange world that didn't make sense to her, had a lot of hurdles to overcome, was considered an outsider, and as she grew up, the noose tightened around her neck. The system, the people, everything increasingly closed in on her, so at some point she was faced with the choice of integrating into society and what was expected of her, or to walk her own walk and to live in integrity with herself and her own beingness. Ultimately, she decided against a life in the Matrix and immigrated to Canada, where it was not clear what life would have in store for her. But it quickly became clear that it was the right decision. She could develop much more freely and pursue what she had always been able to feel inside as the truth. There was so much more to discover, especially that life can be so simple. This allowed her to concentrate fully on the things that really matter. A huge part of it was preparing herself for the role as a way shower in this paradigm shift, as well as focusing on the continuous expansion of her consciousness and, most importantly, the embodiment of her higher self. She has been offering her records, energy work, personal recordings, and one-to-ones in the English-speaking world for many years and decided about 2 years ago to sell her wonderful home on the lake in Canada. She bought a camper van in Germany and now travels through Europe alone with the full intention to get herself into situations, challenges that she would not have encountered in her previous life situation. Elke's agreement with herself in the complete embodiment of her higher levels, removing everything that is not love and light, and embodying her true self. A process that has been largely completed except for small blockages that are still hidden within the subconscious mind. By leaving her comfort zone every day unconscious fears, resistances, and more have come to the surface, which are then actively faced and dissolved. During this process, old hidden traumas, beliefs, identities, and emotions have been showing up that were dissolved and transcended. These emotions have nothing to do with our true self, and if they are not addressed, they form small and, unfortunately, with time, large pockets in our energy field where our light and consciousness are not present, thus resulting in dis-ease. Dissolving everything that keeps us perceptively separated from our higher levels increases the frequency of the body, which in turn means that more of your true self can be integrated into the body. Consciousness, the light and love that we all are, never stagnates. Consciousness constantly grows and expands. Thus, Elke will also constantly expand and integrate more and more of her higher levels for the highest good and the highest and best good of all concerned. This is an important choice that each one of us needs to make for themselves. With this podcast, we offer an opportunity to look at life and especially oneself from a higher perspective and to take responsibility for ourselves and our actions as well as reactions. But more importantly, to embody our true self, therefore bringing home here. For many millennia, we have been trained to surrender our own responsibility to others, but now it is time for all of humanity to take their power back and make the shift from the mind back to the heart. The heart is the connection to our higher levels, the universe, and all of creator consciousness. Humanity has decided that it is time for a shift into a new paradigm, a paradigm of the heart, of love, of the embodiment of self. A paradigm of standing in your truth and walking your walk, being in integrity with yourself and your whole beingness. We wholeheartedly invite you to ask questions and or make suggestions on what you would like addressed in a podcast. And now I'll pass the microphone on to Elke.
Hello, everyone. I am very excited to begin this podcast together with Jutta and bring it to you and let it grow from here, let it grow, expand. And you are invited to grow and expand with us and to bring forth your input, your questions, your suggestions on what to address and really bring consciousness and your heart and the light and the love that you are into this creation that we are doing together here. I have named it experience consciousness for a very specific reason. Because on this planet, humanity for a very long time has been, you can call it you can call it hamster wheel, has been on wash, rinse, repeat for eons. Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. And this has been the case because mostly in what humanity has been doing, there was very little consciousness in it. And what I mean by consciousness is awareness, is presence, is the love, the beauty, the innocence, the purity that you are, that everyone is. Humanity has been mind-based ego-based for a very long time, which is a very harsh environment, which is very restrictive, which feels very, very dense. And as humanity, as you may have noticed, is going through a paradigm shift, moving from the paradigm of sex, power, greed, from a paradigm of being in the mind, in the ego, of the fight, the battle against or for who has the biggest ego, and therefore perceptively has the power over others, to the heart, to consciousness, to the consciousness, the beauty that you are, to love, to softness, to purity, to divinity, the divinity that you are. And this new paradigm lies within the heart, not the mind. You have a mind, and the mind is your beautiful tool. But your presence, the truth of who you are, lies within your heart. You can connect with it within and through the heart. You can feel it within and through the heart. And this podcast is going to be about bringing consciousness, bringing light, bringing love to everything you do, to everywhere you go, to emanating and being the presence, the love, the light, the consciousness that you are. Feeling that consciousness and feeling that softness of the heart. And Jutta, after hearing those words, how does that feel for you?
It's hard to bring it in words. It sounds like a life we live that is not the truth.
You mean
So,
now, within the mind
yeah,
instead of the heart?
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
And now we are bringing truth back to us. The
yeah.
truth within ourselves, through ourselves, and most importantly, as ourselves.
Mhm.
And how does this feel within your heart? How much more open can you feel? How much more, well, excited? How much
Well,
more joyful do you feel right here? What does your body feel right here, right now?
it
After,
it
yes,
it's warm and it feels like I'm expanding.
exactly.
Mhm.
This is your consciousness coming in and you starting to feel you again. It is about bringing your focus, your consciousness here. As it is right here, right now with humanity, everyone has their consciousness scattered everywhere, be it in the past, in the future, be it what could be, what has to be, all the overwhelm, all the burden, all the fear, everything that's going on with the world, everything that might be going on, everything that's going on around you. And there's the question, where are you in this? And we are going to find out, and we are going to bring you back, you as yourself, within yourself and through yourself. And this is what this podcast is going, or is about, is going to be about and will be. about. And I'm completely overjoyed to embark on this journey together with Jutta. And I would be overjoyed to have you come with us so we can grow, expand, and create together and walk our walks with an open heart as ourselves, within ourselves, and to ourselves. And the way this podcast will be presented, or we are presenting it, is this is the introduction podcast, of course. And the next ones will be about certain topics. And again, you are invited to suggest or ask topics, ask questions, so that we can create podcasts that are adjusted to you, that involve you. So there will be the talking, the podcast itself, and then we will make a separate meditative experience that will bring you into the experience of what was addressed in the podcast. So after this, when we are done with this podcast, I will do a meditative experience, which will be posted sometime after it as a separate episode. And I will talk you through it, and I will do a 15-minute energy work session after it. It will be silent for you so you can dive into it, feel into it, and experience it with your own beautiful, unique perspective and unique presence. Finding out the truth about yourself, within yourself, through yourself, and as yourself. And this is what I have to say in this first podcast. Jutta, any further words from you?
I am excited to find my true self. I'm ready.
And integrating it, feeling it, and
Yeah,
being the love that you are. Isn't that amazing? I
it
can't
is.
wait to do this journey with all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you all.